right. Well, it's 10:02, so we'll get started. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here. Super excited that Calli has graciously given us her time to show us how corporations business plan and how that can translate to what you can do as a business plan to help you achieve your goals in 2022. Calli's been in the business for a few years. And before that, she has 20 years of corporate retail experience. And this was a primary piece of her job for those 20 years was business planning. So a lot of knowledge. And I'm going to drop the spreadsheet that we sent out that Calli's going to be showing you how to use today. Please open that, follow along, save it, use it. It's a really valuable tool to make sure that you're staying on track all throughout the year. So, all right, Calli, I guess take it away.
Thank you. This tool I built because honestly, I was really frustrated, but I was also working with another agent who said my plan is to sell 12 houses her first year, very doable. And she'd been doing open houses for about a year before because she was licensed and didn't sell anything, and told me, well, I'm going to get all my houses from open houses, and said, okay, what's your conversion rate? And she said, I don't know, I host 20 open houses to get one client. So we did the math, and she would have had to have hosted about 800 open houses to sell the number of houses she wanted. So we talked about A, getting better at open houses, and B, what are other lead gen activities, but knowing where your goals are and where they're coming from is a primary source of this. So if anybody puts anything in the chat, I'm not going to see it because I'm going to start sharing my screen. And we're going to start with your history. If you don't know where you've been, you can't figure out where you're going. So we're going to look at how to pull your history. This is easier for independent agents than team agents. If you are a team agent, you're probably going to have to go back through either Command or whatever system you keep track of your deals, count how many you did, and what's the source? So if I can share, Kathleen, can you? Oh, I already have permission. Excellent. Okay. So on the first tab of the plan, if I change screens, can you see that I'm changing screens? No, you're still on the plan. Okay. I don't understand why it stopped doing this. So we'll have to bounce back and forth. So if you're an independent agent, the easiest way to pull up and see what you did in the last year, go in quick search. And if you type your own name or any agent's name, actually, if you're looking to see who's got listings, it's going to pop up and say view member listings. Super easy. So I see everything that's active and everything I've sold in the last year. You can export this to Excel by hitting the three dots and selecting export. It's going to ask you to do these things, but when you get it, it's going to look like this. So I'm looking at what did I sell? Your sold price is here in this column. So I did 4.6 million in 18 deals in the last 12 months. So if you don't have it done and count it up, it's for me easiest to see the street names because most of the time you're not going to see which clients and remember which ones. Oh, well, I can see these two I know these three are from my sphere. So we're going to count it up, right? And count what we've done in the last year. So I'm going to share a different screen. So I sold 18 houses. I'd love to sell 185, but not really. I know that 4 of them were listings. And my total volume was 4.6 million. That gives me my average home sale price. Next thing I'm going to look at is what are my sources? If I don't know my sources, in business, we would call this a postmortem. It's after it's dead. What am I doing for the last year? What did I get from open houses? What's my sphere count? Past clients and referrals. So if I did 8 from open houses, I did 3 from my sphere. So it's going to keep tally. So you have to get to 100%, right? So you have to get to 18. And let's say I'm one of the weirdos left in the world that does door knocking. Okay, so if those were my 4, it doesn't matter what my 4 are. It only matters that I did them. If it's providing business for you, that's what's important. Any questions on this part? And somehow, there we go. Questions, comments? If you are a new agent and you have 0 history, you're doing Ignite, you're doing Accelerator, you're taking the classes, hopefully you're doing Bold, but really at this point, I want you to look and see, like, what's your total plan? Are you planning on? Open houses and sphere that's my big plan for the year. What's your plan? And at this point, you can either guess on 2 or 3 and say a third of it comes from each one. You can probably rest a little bit heavier on open houses. If you go 50% open houses and 25 on 2 other things, that's probably a good start. I mean, past clients and referrals from past clients, it's in your first year, that's not going to be one of your lead gen sources. But moving forward, it will be, because those are the easiest ones to do. So that's looking at our history. Next, we're going to take a look at what are our goals. Did you do your vision board? What do you want to make this year? If it's $1 million, go ahead, throw it up here. But if your goal is to make 200,000, you also have your cap, which comes off your commission. So if I want to take home 200, regardless of taxes or anything else, what am I doing? I can also look at my average home sale price from the last 12 months and back into either knowing one of 2 things. Can I take this up based on what I've been doing more recently? Or do you think this is high? Did you have like one super high outlier? I sold $1.5 million house. I'd love to sell $1.5 million houses every day, but it's not really feasible to plan. So plan on your average home sale price. I can tell you that I sold a bunch of really low price condos at the beginning of the year. My more recent average home sale price is actually $350,000. So that's 27 houses. Now, if I said, oh no, I'm going to stick with 255, I have to sell 37 houses. So what you're going after and your goal take home actually matters, right? So I'm going to go back to my 350. Listings percent of total sales is important, because what we're looking at then is, this is going to change just a skosh to say, if you're doing more listings, you make more money. So you don't have to do as much work if you're doing listings. So if my goal this year, I have 22% listings. My goal for next year is at least 30% listings. Okay, since I'm not doing all buyers and I'm making 60% of 6% instead of 40%, I now have 23 homes. Two a month for the year is not a bad goal, right? Bring home 200,000. Questions on where it's going, throw them in the chat. Ask questions anytime. I mean, you can even unmute yourself, because just listening to myself is really boring. Anybody?
I do have a question. How can we find out the average home price if maybe we don't have past sales?
If you have 0 past sales, the Milwaukee Metro average is actually about $330,000 according to MLS a few weeks ago. If anybody else read that email and I'm wrong, tell me, but I think I read the subject line. But I would look at really, and then the office average is higher than the Milwaukee MLS. You could guess low and then have more conservative estimates on getting there. So if in your first year you guessed 200, you might get a few over 200, but within your first year where you're developing your relationships to get really good open houses and you're looking for those higher price points, 200 to 225 is probably a good start. Fair? Now, if you say, I'm only going to sell houses that are $1 million and above, I mean, put it in there, but then you've got your work cut out for you. Go for it. Okay. We're going to move to our next step then. So in our monthly planning, we start again at the top. So my goal take home feeds in from the other page. My percentage of buyers and sellers, this is changeable. It's linked on yours, but if you change your mind as you're building this, and if you also said, I offer a lot of discounts, I actually get 2.6%, it's going to change your percentages on what you're taking home. But I don't like to give discounts. I'm not a cheap date. So my total sales goal then is 4.6 million. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to goal to close 23. The client to close conversion rate. What this means is after you're working with someone and they're a client, they are no longer a customer, you have clients, what percentage of them actually buy? What percentage of them call and say, oh my God, I just got my dream job to test hammocks in the Caribbean. I'm moving. I'm not going to buy a house anymore. I'm going to sell my house, but I'm not going to buy my house. So instead of doing 2 deals, that's 1 deal, right? So over the course of the year, some people are going to fall out. They're going to have life changes. Something's going to happen. Even as you're learning, it could be that you broke up. I mean, I fired a buyer because she called me names and threw F-bombs at me. So, I mean, the entire brokerage fired her because I was the 4th agent she did it to, but it's going to happen. You're going to have some people break up. So a client to close conversion rate means out of how many clients you get, how many are you getting them to the closing table? So if you conservatively, as a new agent, put in 70%, I no longer need to find 23 clients. I need to find 33 clients because there is a fall off rate. Now the goal in this, I already have a couple of clients I'm working with, right? So I don't have to go find them all. If they are under contract and closing within this year, you can count them. If you think that you're going to get them under contract yet in the next 2 weeks and close by the end of December, that's a 2022 business driving activity. Everything that you're putting into your business today and next month, those are 2023 business driving activities. They are not for this year. So if I have 8 active clients that I'm working with, and they're not probably going to close this year, and they're active, they are A-level buyers. And if you guys haven't talked about A-level buyers, I mean, you can really break them into kind of 4 buckets. A-level buyers are ready to buy in the next house they see. If they saw the right house, they would write the offer and sell theirs or just buy. B-level buyers are saying, yeah, probably 3 months, I'd be more ready. I'm not really ready to pull the trigger today. Maybe if they see the right house, you can push them to A-level, but they are not the ones driving the business decisions regularly. C-level buyers are really like 12 months out there, like, yeah, maybe. I'm just starting to look, like I'm not in a hurry. And D are your looky-loos that if you sold to them, it might be in 3 years. You might never sell to them, but they could give you referrals. Don't count them out. Don't throw them away. Keep them in your back pocket, but they're probably not going to buy this year. So you're really looking for A and B buyers from November through March. March through June, you're looking for A. August, really A. And anything after that, unless you absolutely find the right house, you really want to do most of your business driving in Q1. Q2, you let your business drive you because you're going to be out there showing houses. You'd like to be working through what you're doing and having a business plan and starting to work with people earlier than later. The later you push, the harder it is when you're looking at May, June, and July that people already have agents. September, October, a little bit quieter. And November, people are starting to come out and look for spring. So get back out there. It's time. So as we look at our business activities for next year to find 25 clients, what are my plans? So last year I sold 44% of my houses from open houses. I'll be honest, I don't want to host quite as many opens. So I'm going to put it at 35% for next year, which means I have to go find 9 people from open houses. That's a pretty doable number. And then what we need to talk about, why conversion is so important to talk about, is that's going to depend on how many open houses I need to host before I gain clients. So if I can convert at 50%, so for every 2 open houses, I can reliably find 1 person, then I only have to host 18 open houses. Oh, I mean, that's pretty doable. That's not saying well, I hosted 2 open houses on Thursday, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. I never saw my family and I didn't do the follow-up. So I didn't do open houses. If you're not going to do the follow-up, don't do open houses. If you can continuously increase this rate, you have to do less work all the time. But if you're going to say, I can only convert 1 out of 20, that's a 5% conversion rate. You have to host 175. I mean, it's doable. But if you were doing the follow-up and actually doing the open houses, you'd be much more likely to do your follow-up if you weren't doing 175 open houses. So if we convert at 50% and we host 18, let's bring it down a little bit. Let's convert at 30. We get 1 out of 3, which also includes the fact that sometimes you're going to host an open that 0 people show up. No reason why, it just happens. So December, you're going to put all of your work plan for November and December in this form. We break it out as a percentage by month. So you can see as we add things up, then we'll get to 100%. So if I decide I'm just taking December off, November and December, I'm busy, I'm not doing it. This now flashes 90. The work that I'm putting in will not result as a plan, the number of people and clients that I have said that I plan on getting from this. So if I need to find another 10%, if I said, okay, April, now you see it adds up. So, but that's not true. I'm going to do some work here. If you go over 100%, it doesn't care. If you are under 100%, it cares. So January and February, good times for opens. March, great. I know I'm going to go to Mexico in April, so I am going to take this down. And June and July, not a great month for me, so I'm going to be busy. So now I equal 100%. But finding a person out here in October that I think I'm going to close yet in the year, I think it's gutsy, but I'm a conservative business planner. So I could say I could try to move it up to September, but you know what? October, there's going to be someone I'm going to find in the exact right house. Sure, maybe. Andrea, I like that I can see your face because then I don't just feel like I'm talking to myself. Okay. My next plan is here in my sphere. Oh, and because this is up, my computer's fighting me a little bit today. Okay, so in my sphere, I'm going to do the same thing. What percentage of my business is coming from them? And I think that for me, sphere is different than repeat and referral. I treat them different ways. I expect different things from them. My sphere is mostly not in Milwaukee, so I don't really plan on any business from them. But if you have to make 100 calls or 100 touches to your sphere, which is the average according to MREA, it does not care if you're using your 36 touch and using emails, calls, text messages, however you're contacting them, it doesn't, this is still a touch. If you have it set up automatically and you don't have to touch it, it's still going to get you business. So if my sphere is going to get me one person, I still have to make 125 calls to do this. So, and you can see that now a single month totals up to get a person. Now I can override this and just put in a 1 because that's my one person, right? But if you're using something that has a really high conversion rate and you're not doing enough of that activity in 1 month, it's going to show that you're not doing enough over the course of the year to show that you're getting estimated clients from this search. It still works, right? So it's still going to be out there. I see a chat question. Nope, it's not. Okay. Now, if I actually increase my sphere for percentage and I say, actually, I'm going to get 50% of them. Now you're going to see that they're going to show up because I have to do enough work of those in those items for it to show clients. So, but my repeat and referral business, we did this with Amanda yesterday. So she actually does 85% repeat and referral. My repeat and referral, I'm going to put it 50% for next year. That's my business plan. So 13 people have to come from that. Now, again, this is a high touch business. Well, what's your conversion rate? So if at 1%, you're 1 to 100, to get these 13 people, I have to do 1,200 actions. Does it matter what the actions are? No. So if I have 300 people set up on a 36 touch, I've more than exceeded this. Again, they're not all calls. They are not all active things that you have to do. Now, if I said, I don't send out biweekly emails because whatever you're doing, but December, in November and December, I'm going to reach out and do pies. I'm going to send out Christmas cards. January, I wish if the few leftovers that I didn't get to, a Happy New Year's message. But in March, I do a big thing. I do Happy St. Patrick's Day. I do a client appreciation event. I'm going to do 35% of my work here. And it's a big touch event. I call them, I invite them, I have them come over. They all know about it. April, I'm going to take the month off then. I'm not going to do a huge touch campaign. Mail in May, I'm going to send out a few postcards. And again, September, I'm just going to remind them as their friends and family start to talk in fall about selling and send out a message about making sure that they are getting their homes ready for winter. So I'm going to plan those things out. So I've got 1,200 touches, but it gets me to 13 people. Door knocking, I lied, I don't do this. Nobody likes door knocking. People do it. Okay, it's just not me. There any kind of lead generation activity that you are planning on using, you can do this. So if you're talking with your sphere, you're probably 1 out of 100. Open houses, if you're 1 out of 2, that's not bad. Postcards, 1/500, that would be a good rate. Paid leads, the last I heard are 6% on the national average. So you get 1 client for every, someone help me with the math today, 13, 12 and a half today. That's fine. And past clients and referrals, again, it's a high touch activity, but it doesn't all have to be super active. Facebook ads, probably, let's Does anybody have any Facebook ad experience on how many clients they're getting per ad?
It's probably close to 1 in 500.
1 out of 500 ads?
1 out of 500
$500, 500 touches.
500 leads.
Okay, so if you
Maybe
got
1 in
10 leads
300.
from each one, that's 1 out of 50. And door knocking, probably 1 out of 100, right? So if you take these percentages, not that one though, that's, some of them are so low they don't show up, right? And it's okay. But it's the amount of work that you're putting into it. What are you getting back from it? So postcards, it's a low time activity, right? So if you're putting in 2 hours on a postcard, does it really matter if you send it out to 200 or 500 people? Probably not. I mean, that might take you an extra 10 minutes wherever you're getting your addresses from. So make sure that what you're looking at here, that you're putting time in, is actually giving you time back. Because it's a activity that you have to do does not mean that it is an active activity. They're not all phone calls that you have to make. So if I look at this, so now I'm only at 90%. So let's say I do Zillow leads, right? And that's going to be my extra 10%. We just talked about the national average from Zillow leads at 8% conversion. So I need to call people. I need to find 31 ads. Usually they're on a basis. So if I did 5, 10, it's not going to work out. So if I'm going to sign up, and if I think this is where my business is going to come from, I need to pay to get at least 3 leads a month to do this. If you can increase your conversion rate, you need to pay for less leads. If you were going to say that you wanted to, you're like, you know what, my first year, I don't know anybody. I'm going to do 50% Zillow leads. Now you're looking at 16 leads a month. So this is something you can be very aware of in looking at this to back into, can you actually afford to buy 160 leads in the next year from Zillow? Or is this just not a doable number and you need a new business activity? So if you said you're right, I can't. If I'm willing to spend 200 a month, I get 2 ads from Zillow. I can come down to 8% a month, probably. Yeah, so just about that. Rounding errors in here are going to take it up to 3 every month. But then I know I can't depend on Zillow because I'm not going to pay that much. What I can do then is say, well, now I'm still not getting all of my work done. So I'm going to have to put something in somewhere else. Well, what can I do? I can add more, something else I can do. I can do more opens. That's something I can do. It doesn't cost me a lot of money to do that. So especially as you're looking at this as a total business strategy, there are other ways to continuously rebalance. Look at this. And if you went to Zillow and said, I'm going to buy this, can I actually do this? So out of my lead gen touches, I'm at 100%. So I'm at 37% open houses, 5% from my sphere, 50% repeat and referral, and 8% on Zillow leads. In December and January, I have 400 things to do, or November and December, I'm sorry, I've got 400 things to do, but I'm going to look down and say, oh, well, I said I was going to call everybody and send out letters and do things. They're not high time activities. January, I have 74 things to do. How do they break out? So now you have a plan. In November and December, I have 3 open houses to do. In January, I have 2. February, I know it's a good month to go out there and find new clients. People are starting to look. Some days we get a few warm days. It's a good time to look. So I also try to plan out my business with the history that we have together. If you have questions on if it's a good time to do something, ask an experienced agent. But I'll tell you, my experience, November, December, January, and February, the experienced agents are kind of burned out. They don't want to do opens. They're willing to let you have them, and people are starting to look again. Go take them. Go do them. It's not going to hurt. My experience, my June, July, and August opens, I shouldn't do them. Maybe I am like not wanting to be there, but in my experience, most of them have agents already. So that's why I'm not planning a big business out here from them. Okay. Are there any questions? Can I help with anything? Someone ask a question, please.
I have a question.
Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, Callie. How are you? So, for anyone who's on Teams, is there a good way or someplace in here that we could track our split or like account for our split as far as our like take home?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Because we still have the cap, but then we obviously have our splits. So I don't know if there's an easy way to like put that in there somewhere.
Well, I'm going to have to do some algebra and fix it this afternoon. So I will build that in. That's an excellent question. I never thought about it.
Thank you.
I'm going to take a note. Things to add.
I just wanted to chime in and say, I really agree with that point you just made about open houses, in that the people that are looking in, July and August probably already have a realtor. So don't be afraid to put your snow boots on. Make sure you bring a shovel and some salt to any open house you do in the winter. But that's really a good point, that you can pick up some buyers that just have started to enter the market, haven't connected with an agent yet. That's probably a really good time to pick them up. So
it also gives you a ton of momentum for the year. You get to February and you see yourself on the leaderboard for closed units. It makes you work harder all the way throughout. Like, you start to feel like you're behind and losing the game. It's not as much fun as staying ahead of it. Plus, it's easier to get on the leaderboard for dollars because not a lot of people go after that Q4 business of that closing Q1. So you can end up on the leaderboard with one closing in dollars. I know we all don't do this for the congratulations, but it always feels good to have good numbers up there.
Well, and if you start the year strong, then it just makes easier work for the rest of the year.
It does.
Oh.
It can also take the pressure off, like June, July, if you don't have a closing, because if we get another Q2 like we had this year, right? Like, how many offers did we all write and not get anything accepted? It was horrible. Well, it takes a lot of pressure off of June, July. If you're still, like, if you can bank on Q1, when business is a little bit easier, I'm going to hope again this year that June and August, you don't have to worry about the grocery bill.
Hey, Callie.
Hey, yeah. Hi, Becky. Welcome to KW. I'm so excited.
How do we get, like, this is kind of an somewhat topic question, but how do we get to do open houses for people? Like, do we just post that on the KW?
You can post it on the sheet, in the Facebook group. I don't know if that's my internet or Becky's internet. Anybody? Is it me?
No, I think that's Becky.
Oh, it's her.
Okay, so your internet's a little blotchy, Becky.
Well, I'm in the
Open
middle of a
houses
building.
are easiest if you can befriend some agents that have been in the business for a while, and they will openly work with you and give you open houses. But posting in the Facebook group, a lot of people are saying, I'll host your opens, I'll host your opens. generally the listing agent is not going back through and telling you like, oh, look, I saw this other person said that they would do it. And they're not looking for that. It's really start watching Wednesday and Thursday, and listing agents will start posting, hey, I've got a new listing. I've got a listing that could use an open. Who wants it? And I hate to say, like, Facebook stalking the group is the easiest way to get opens at that time. But really proving with yourself that you do solid opens, that you're advertising before it, that you're giving good feedback for the listing agent and the seller, because it goes directly to the seller when you put it in showing time. So if you're giving good feedback on a timely basis, if you don't do it for like 2 or 3 hours, sometimes it happens. But if it's not, if that's your plan, the sellers are usually asking, how did it go within 10 minutes of it ending? So planning on doing that right away and getting a really good rapport and having a great reputation for doing good opens, taking care of your client's property. It's the best way to get opens. Any other experienced agents have a different opinion on opens?
I would say that you can also watch the delayed listings in MLS and watch your hot sheets. And when you see something, a new listing by a member of our brokerages, so like, don't be afraid, just call the agent and ask.
Okay, thank you. That's a great idea.
I mean, I know I kind of flew through this. It's not a really hard form to use. If anyone has questions as they're building this, if you didn't do it while we were talking, this is my number. Well, it didn't show up. Oh, because it's in white. Delete. Yes, I've had a 608 number for 20 years, and if I change it, my dad will never be able to call me again. So I don't change it. And that's my email address. If you want anytime you want to build your business and talk about it and you want help, I will never tell anybody no if they're actually putting in the time and the effort to build themselves up.
And I'll just take you for Thai food and pick your brain.
Well, Becky and I have known each other for a long time, guys. Like, I owe Becky so much. I walk because of her. So yeah,
Aw.
I still have my red heels. Don't worry. So
I was thinking you might wear them today just for fun and be like, look what I have on.
I have my slippers on. It's cold today.
Nice.
I had some pretty serious back issues and ended up with back surgery, and Becky was my physical therapist. And actually, we worked together for 3 years on getting me to look like I walk normal.
Aw.
So I wouldn't be where I am, nor would I wear heels without Becky. So.
Plus, I think we just were having so much fun together. Even if you could have walked at year 2, we would have made something else up that was wrong.
I mean, they didn't tell you no, so it still worked out for us. So any questions, comments, anything I can do to make this better besides putting in the team split? That's a really good call. Thank you, Caitlin. Does anyone else think that this is helpful? I'm going to stop sharing so I can see some faces, maybe, if you've shared your screens. Okay, nobody shared their screens. Hi, Andrea. Okay, well, I'm going to let you guys go with this, run with this. If you have questions, I'm still here. You're welcome. I'm happy that it's easy to use. Like I said, any questions? So I was reading comments. Sorry. If there's anything I can do, please let me know.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Calli. Appreciate everybody being here today. And this will be sent out with the updated spreadsheet. So look for that coming soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Calli.
Calli.
Thank you, Calli.